Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however, whenever you're paying attention, welcome in to Sports with Balls, Monday edition after a wild weekend in sports. Man, I'm pumped up to get into all this stuff, dude. What a weekend, college football, NFL football. It's basically what we're going to go. I'm not going to hit into the NBA today. It's just been a wild football weekend. Was excited to be part of it. Had my son's birthday this past weekend, and it went off without a hitch. But I missed a little bit of the college games because we did have a lot of people here. FYI, get them made before and after for the birthday parties. Yeah, unbelievable. My house was a wreck. Still kind of trying to clean it up, but it is what it is. Welcome into Sports with Balls. I'm Jeff Michael. Let's get into today's national holidays, which I always love to do at the beginning of the show. International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. All right. National Brand Day. That's what this show is about as far as sponsoring is branding. For those of y'all that want to brand on here. Blaze Day. I don't know not Blaze. Not what you're thinking, Blaze Day. No. BLASE. On this unique holiday, take pleasure not having to pretend to find pleasure in anything. All right. National Day of Bosnia and something else. National Play Day with Dad. There we go. I love it. I don't have my kids right now, but it is National Play Day with your dad. So there you go. White Ribbon Day. I guess that's the same thing as no violence. Well, to say no to violence against women day. So there you go. Man, that's pretty much it. Shopping reminder day. Let's see. Thanksgiving coming up in 3 days. Cannot wait. I've actually got to get to the gym ASAP so I can be able to eat because I will feel very guilty. But this weekend, I went off the diet completely. So that's all right. It is what it is. We'll get into sports history later on in the show, but wow, did we have a weekend in sports. Capped off last night by Saquon Barkley's over 300-yard night, and the New York Giants look like idiots. You signed Daniel Jones, you let go of Saquon Barkley, and then you release Daniel Jones. Oh my gosh. What an absolute disaster for the New York Giants. And we'll get into the game actually in a little bit. He had a record-setting Eagles night, not the NFL record, but 250 yards on the ground. He added another, I forgot exactly how much he had in the air, but it was an over 300-yard night. Just unbelievable. MVP of the league now. He's got to be up there in the conversation. I know he's going for the record. He has a chance to beat it. There's odds that say it's a pretty good chance he beats the record. Now, granted, he's got one more game, but it looks to be up there. With the MVP odds are, let's see, Barkley had 60-1 odds to win. Entering Sunday, it was 60-1 odds to win the MVP. That shot up to plus 550 Sunday night, tied with Jared Goff for the third best odds. Only Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have better odds to beat Saquon. That's not a bad bet. I mean, if he breaks the record, he's MVP, right? And the Eagles are having a hell of a night. A hell of a season. Quiet season. Quiet. And I love that. If you're an Eagles fan, you have to absolutely love the quietness of the season. Since we're on the NFL, let's go over the top headlines. Of course, we talked about Barkley. And I'll get into a little bit more here in a second when we go over the game. They did lose their defensive end Graham for the season. Let's see. Mahomes and I don't really want to get into that just yet. The Raiders lose Gardner Minshew, gone for the season. Not that that's a big deal. I believe the Raiders, let me see where they are right now as far as draft picks. They are at number 3. I think they losing Gardner Minshew, not that big of a deal for the Raiders. I don't know when tanking actually happens or when they're like, okay, guys, we're calling it a day. But as of right now, Jacksonville, who has Trevor Lawrence, obviously, is in the number 1 spot for the draft. The Giants are at number 2. The Raiders at number 3. Both need quarterbacks. The Patriots at number 4. Carolina at number 5. Obviously, just drafted Bryce Young, who actually played pretty decent yesterday. So you got Jacksonville, Giants, Vegas, New England Patriots, Carolina Panthers, Tennessee Titans at number 6, who desperately probably want to have a franchise quarterback. I'm not sure they're going to stick with Will Levis. The Jets at number 7. The New York Jets at number 7. FYI, Aaron Rodgers says he wants to play somewhere else. He does want to play next year and wants to play somewhere else. This guy is a franchise killer. Aaron Rodgers, dude, what an absolute disaster. The Cleveland Browns at number 8. The Dallas Cowboys, as of right now, have the number 9 pick in the draft. I talked about it earlier, guys, about Dallas trading up, getting rid of Dak Prescott and taking Shedeur Sanders. Look, that's way ballsy, if you will, but it could happen. That definitely could happen. All right, let's get to these games. Ravens, let's see. The Ravens and the Chargers will kick off tonight. We'll talk about that here in a minute at the end. Yesterday's scores, Vikings 30, Bears 27, and another, if you can find a way to lose, game for the Bears. Golly. Caleb Williams, 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had a good game. Really good game. Sam Darnold got hurt in this game and then came back in. Bears played good. They played really good. They're not there yet. I'm not giving up. I told you this last week. We're not giving up on Caleb Williams. He had a great game. He became the all-time leader for rookie quarterbacks in Chicago Bears history for passing yards. So good for him. And he's got a few more games to figure it out. The Bears aren't going to the playoffs. They've got guys that they need to put into positions. They've got another year to figure it out, maybe even 2 years. I don't even know if they're a playoff team next year. But Caleb Williams looks okay. He doesn't look bad. He looks okay. Just give him some time. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his off-the-field antics or on-field antics, if you will. But give the guy some time. The Detroit Lions keep pounding people, but also keep piling up injuries. They had Montgomery leave yesterday. I'm not exactly sure. We'll wait till the injury report comes out. But the Lions, 10-1, already in the playoffs, basically. 6-0 on the road. Just a good football team, man. The Colts only scored 6 points. They got blanked in the second half. Jared Goff, 26 of 36, 259. Gibbs had 2 rushing touchdowns. Just a good football team. I don't know how else to explain it. Those guys can play ball. They should be in the Super Bowl. We'll see. Patriots at the Dolphins. Dolphins on a 3-game win streak. They still have a shot to make the playoffs. That was a good division win for them. They're 5-6. They've got a pretty easy road. I know they play the Browns and the Jets at the end of the season, so maybe give them 2 victories. That gives 7 wins. They get 2 more. They could be in. They don't have that rough of a schedule. And Tua Tagovailoa threw for 304 touchdowns. Well, 317 to be exact. But the Dolphins seem to have it or are putting it together, and they seem healthy. Tyreek Hill still not a 100-yard receiving game since the first week of the season. It's unbelievable. Jalen Waddle, though, went off. 144. Let's see. Jonnu Smith had a great game, 87. Tyreek Hill, 48 yards on 6 targets. Jonnu Smith had 11 targets. Led the team. I was playing against a guy in fantasy that had him. Oof. I still won, I think. We'll see after tonight. Buccaneers at the Giants. The Tommy DeVito, I guess, project that didn't go so well at all. Giants fall to 2-9. I just read off the draft order for you guys. Buccaneers moved to 5-6. They could make the playoffs too. Baker Mayfield trolled old Tommy D with his money, or if you will, salami, or however you want to put it. Tommy D celebration. Baker Mayfield was trolling him. Baker had a good game. I guess the highlight of the game was Baker rushing down the field trying to block for one of his running backs, who, by the way, Bucky Irving, 12 carries, 87 yards, 1 touchdown. Looked great. But good game for the Bucs, bad game for the Giants. Or if you're a Giant fan, good game for the Giants. Are you trying to, Giant fan, they just brutal day for y'all. You get blown out by the Bucs, and then you got to watch Saquon Barkley break records. Oof. And then the game of the freaking day, Cowboys at Commanders. There is not enough time on this show to go over what the hell happened in this game. It will be replayed over and over and over. Cowboys with a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, followed up by a Jaden Daniels 70-yard pass to retake the lead. Well, if they were to go for 2, but they just needed a extra point to tie the game, and he missed. And the Cowboys they had to kick another onside kick, and the Cowboys scored a touchdown on that. This all happened. They scored 41 points in the fourth quarter, 4 touchdowns in 3 minutes. It was the end of this game, or just the entire fourth quarter, was unbelievable. You always have one of these games every NFL season, and this was it. That game was ridiculous, but the Cowboys beat the Washington Commanders. Wow. And the Commanders, all of the sudden, on a 3-game losing streak, don't get me wrong. Listen, those 3 games are Steelers, Eagles, and then Cowboys, but the Cowboys is a division game. I knew that wasn't going to be easy for them. That's always a tough game. They have the Titans and the Saints next. Those should be get-right games. So they should be 9-5 after that. I don't know. And then going back into the Eagles, Falcons, and Cowboys. They've got an easy schedule coming up. Washington should cruise into the playoffs, but they lost 3 in a row, man. Barely lost to the Steelers. 28-27 in a great game. 1 possession game versus the Eagles, and then, of course, they lose that incredible game to the Dallas Cowboys last night. Dallas Cowboys. Oof. Not your year. But good win versus the Commanders on the road. Chiefs and Panthers. Another incredibly close game with the Chiefs. How many one-possession game or one-score games have they played? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 one-score games that the Chiefs have played this year, and they've won all of them. Wow. Y'all think the Chiefs may go to the Super Bowl? I don't. I think they're up there. They're a good team. They find ways to win. But when they run up against a good team here, I mean, look at their schedule. They played some really bad football teams. The Raiders, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers. They're about to play the Raiders again. They played the Bengals at the beginning of the season. It was terrible. There's like 5 or 6 games here. They played really, really bad football teams. And they don't really have a quality win. They lost versus the Bills. Their quality win is, I don't know. They don't have one. You could go back to the beginning of the season, their quality win being the first game versus the Ravens. That's the first game of the NFL season. Get out of here, man. Come on. The rest of their schedule, the Raiders, Chargers, good team. Browns, Texans, Broncos, Steelers. So they have one hard game left. One. They're going to have a bye. They're going to have home field advantage. The Chiefs are in the playoffs. That's just the way it is. That's the way the schedule got rolled out. And if you want to call it script written, there you go. Chiefs are in. Titans at the Houston Texans. My word, what has happened to the Houston Texans? I don't want to sit here and say I told you so, but I told you so. This was bad. This was one of the ugliest games I've seen. On both sides of the ball for the Texans and the Titans. Will Levis throwing pick sixes. C.J. Stroud running out of the back of the end zone. There were turnover. It was just bad. It was a bad football game. Missed field goals, missed extra points. It was everything combined in this game, and it was a division game that the Texans at home should have easily won, but they lost 32-27. It was brutal. Brutal to watch. Nico Collins, welcome back to the NFL. 5 receptions, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. That's the lone bright spot. Joe Mixon, after having that incredible game, 14 carries, 22 yards. Teams can figure this out once they have video on you, once they have film on you. It's not hard to figure this out. And they figured CJ Stroud out. He looks like a shell of himself. It's not even close. This guy was supposed to be MVP talks. Texans were off to a great start. Oh my gosh, here we go. This is going to be a playoff team. And they still may be a playoff team because they're in the worst division of football. But they've lost, 4 of their last 6 games? 3 of their last 4? Jets. The only one they beat was the Cowboys. They lost to the Packers, the Jets, the Lions, of course, in a good game. And the Titans. They beat the Colts and the Cowboys. They've got Jaguars next. Not a gimme. If they lose that game, then the Dolphins, then the Chiefs, then they have Jaguars. If they lose to the Jaguars, they have Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens next, and then a Titans team that already beat them. Woo! Not fun. Not fun at all. And let's top it off by the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Ravens games are 3 football games in 10 days over the Christmas break. The Texans are in deep shit. Deep shit. That schedule is not, if they lose, let's just say they win the easy ones and lose the hard ones, they'll be 9-8. After starting off the season, 5-1. Yeah, 5-1. 6-2, if you will. Yep. They have lost 4 of their last 6 and 3 of their last 4, heading into a brutal stretch of their season. Houston Texans fans, yes, I would be worried. I would be very, very worried. That it does not line up well for you at all. I think that they may still make the playoffs. We'll see. They lose 4 or 5 in a row. There's going to be major rumblings over there in Houston. They're at a huge turning point. A huge turning point. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got to figure it out soon. If they lose to Jacksonville next week, and what I would like to say is a must-win game for the Houston Texans because the next 3 are just unbelievably brutal. We'll see what happens. A team that actually looks really, really good now, the Denver freaking Broncos. Bo Nix with another great performance as the Broncos win, 3 straight, 3 or 4? They beat the Raiders 29-19. Man, they've put it together lately. They have. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their last 10 games they've won. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Sean Payton found his quarterback, and Bo Nix seems to be fitting into that system pretty well. They got the Browns and Colts coming up. Those are 2 easy games, or should be. I know it's the NFL. But, man, Denver, playoffs? They got the Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs the end of the season. So that's going to be a little bit of a rough stretch. But I like what Denver's doing. Their defense is good. Listen, they should have beat the Chiefs. You can throw that game out the window if you want to. They should have beat the Chiefs. So this team's good. Bo Nix, is he having the best season of all the rookie quarterbacks? Is he up there for rookie of the year? Jaden Daniels was a lock for a little bit, but not anymore, man. Bo Nix is coming through. Really putting on a show for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. 49ers fall. The injury-prone 49ers fall to the Packers. Packers are 8-3. Really good football team. Josh Jacobs had a great day. 26 carries, 106, and 3 touchdowns. If you don't force Jordan Love to throw the ball 40 times, and Josh Jacobs is running good, It's a great football team. You run the ball, you got a great defense. There you go. So you look, I like the Packers if Josh Jacobs is running the ball well. The 49ers, they've got to get healthy. I wish the 49ers were healthy. This may not be their year, though. They've had injury after injury after injury. They're only 5-6 now. You know, we're heading to the home stretch of the NFL season. Boy, Brandon Mendenhall. You having a bad day there, buddy? Wow. You can leave comments on social media, and I will try to get to them when I can. But, you know, if you're having a bad day, don't leave rude ones. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate that. Cardinals at the Seahawks. What do we got here? Geno Smith, 6-5. The Cardinals look like shit. I'll be honest with you. They look terrible. Absolutely terrible. Kyler Murray, 24-37, 285 yards and 1 pick. He's such an awkward guy to have fantasy-wise or just as a quarterback in general because you don't know what the hell he's going to do that day. And I don't know if it's I've heard he's a terrible locker room guy. And it's just awkward for the Cardinals to have these good football games and then just absolutely blow up when they're when they play a team like the Seahawks. They destroyed the Jets last week, 31-6. It's a great football game. They beat the Bears 29-9, beat the Dolphins 28-27, beat the Chargers 17-15, and all the weeks prior to this. And then you get a Seahawks team that's 500, and he disappears. Kyler Murray just kind of disappears. Then they got the Vikings next, and then the Seahawks again. You know, Arizona should be a playoff team. I don't know anymore, though. I don't know. Man. All right, we'll just delete that comment. It is what it is. Let's see. Eagles and Rams last night. We talked about this earlier. Matt Stafford had a good game. Not a great game, but a good 243, 2 touchdowns. But Saquon Barkley, talk of the town after yesterday. The Cowboys game, the Cowboys-Commanders game, and then you had the Saquon Barkley game last night. Just went off. And if you're a Giant fan, you're just like, what the hell were we thinking? Yeah, like the Daniel Jones situation is absolutely brutal. And then you watch Saquon Barkley run for over 250, run for 255, have a total of 300 yards. Like, it's just unbelievable that the Giants went from that to this. The Philadelphia Eagles are 9-2. 9-2. They've got some rough games coming up. Ravens, Steelers, Commanders. They do have some easy ones spread in there with the Panthers, the Giants coming up. But, the end of the year, Saquon versus the Giants. I don't know. I'm assuming that will be a rest game for Saquon. But, man, don't you know he wants to play that game. He already did well against him the beginning of the season. Their losses are to the Falcons the second week of the season, and then the Bucs the fourth week of the season when we thought the Bucs were really good. And then they've gone on a tear. An absolute tear. Now, they haven't played the best of teams. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-game win streak. May come to an end. They play the Ravens next week. That's going to be really, really interesting. Tonight's game. Let's get into it. Browns at Chargers. Baltimore -2.5. I like the Ravens in this game. I think this is going to be a litmus test for the Chargers. They haven't really had that many great teams at home this year. They've played the Steelers. That was in Pittsburgh. They played an early Broncos team, but they lost. They beat a Broncos team in Denver earlier this year. They beat that Cardinals team I was just talking about. And that lately it looks like they've gone on a tear. Saints, Browns, Titans, and then they played that Bengals game last week that we all talk about with Joe Burrow and the no defense. Baltimore has a defense. Their schedule, they played Steelers and Chiefs. They lost to both of those teams. Other than that, it's been a pretty easy schedule. And again, it's the Harbaugh Bowl. Two brothers going up against each other. I expect it to be a pretty good game, but I do like the Ravens in this game, -2.5. Even in the first half, I like the Ravens. -2, -1.5, whatever it is. Lamar Jackson have an MVP type season. And we'll see what happens. Good game tonight. The over-under sits at 50. All right, let's shoot over to the NFL, and that is brought to you by Christian's Tailgate Bar and Grill. Get over to christianstailgate.com. Find one near you. Award-winning food, an incredible place to watch events, all your sporting events. They've got all sorts of stuff going on. They got goat yoga on the weekends at some locations. Place is phenomenal. They got karaoke nights. Get over to christianstailgate.com. Find one near you. Been in a car wreck? Need some legal help? Call Mark Thiessen over at Thiessen Law Firm, thetexastrialattorney.com. Call him at 713-864-9000. That's Mark Thiessen at Thiessen Law Firm. Then Wesley Butler at Butler CCS. Fire, water, mold, roofing. He does it all. Give Wesley Butler a call at Butler CCS INC. Follow him on all your social media outlets. College football, baby. AP poll is out. Have y'all seen this? Now, I know we're waiting for the college playoff prediction, but the AP top 25 poll. Oh, boy. There's going to be some, pissed off people tomorrow. I can't wait. Go to Facebook, social media. Follow it. Argue on it. It's great. There's so many people on there. Just having a blast. Look, guys, it's social media, so take it with a grain of salt. Don't get too upset about stuff. But, man, the AP poll goes as is: Oregon number 1, Ohio State number 2, Texas number 3. Now we get interesting. Number 4, Penn State. A lot of people are wondering why Penn State is even at number 4. They have 0 quality wins, I believe. Let me pull this up. AP and coaches poll. Yeah. Penn State's 10-1. That's why they're up there. We get it. But they've played nobody. It's I don't think. Some people would call a couple of teams in there. Maybe it's a weak schedule. Notre Dame number 5. Georgia number 6 after 9-2. Tennessee 9-2 at number 7. Miami number 8, 10-1. Good team. Now, here's where everything is going to start playing games. Number 9 now, SMU moves up 4 spots, is now in, if we're going by the AP rankings. Now, tomorrow, obviously, they'll come out with the playoff predictor, but right now, SMU's at number 9. Indiana at number 10 after their loss. They dropped 5 spots after their loss to Ohio State. You've got Boise State at 11, Clemson at 12, Alabama dropping 6 spots after getting blown out. There's still a path in their way to make it. This is what's weird. Didn't Arizona beat Alabama, but they're ranked behind them at number 14? Then you have Ole Miss. Then you have South Carolina. Then you have Iowa State at 17, Tulane 18. BYU dropped another 5 spots to number 19. Texas A&M 5 spots down to 20. Colorado is now 23rd after losing this past weekend. It was a brutal week for college football teams that were trying to make it into the playoffs. Brutal. I feel bad. Well, I don't feel bad. I mean, it is what it is. Look, you play the games that are on the schedule, and hopefully you can win. Ohio State blew out Indiana 38-15. Indiana, their hopes aren't dashed, but looks pretty grim. Penn State, they're ranked number 4, barely beating Minnesota 26-25. And they're ranked number 4 in the nation. It is what it is. Notre Dame blew out Army 49-14. Alabama losing to Oklahoma. Oklahoma put it on them 24-3. Miami blew out Wake Forest. Florida beating number 9 Ole Miss. Georgia beating Massachusetts handily. Tennessee obviously beating UTEP easily. Boise State won, SMU won. BYU losing to Arizona State. That was the big one. Arizona State, the crowd rushed the field. Why? I have no idea. You beat a number 14 team. I don't know why this is a thing. They had to get them off of the field for a last-second Hail Mary because the refs put 1 second back on the clock, Anyways, it fell short. BYU loses. I believe they're out of the playoffs, but we'll see. You never know. Auburn, I told you about this game. It was sneaky. Auburn beat Texas A&M. And Colorado loses to Kansas. And look, you can't do that. Shedeur Sanders, brutal hit on him, by the way. Brutal hit. College football's playoffs rankings will come out tomorrow. We will go over those Wednesday. Look, I'll get over to the Today in Sports History. What do we got? Or maybe not. On this day, November the 25th, let's find out what we got going on. Ted Williams wins the AL MVP in 1949. Bob Cousy becomes the second player to score 15,000 points in 1961. Let's see. O.J. Simpson gained 273 yards for Buffalo against Detroit in 1976. Coming on the heels of him was Saquon's 255 last night. Tommy Hearns KOs Jerome Hill in 2 rounds in 1977 in his first professional fight. Wow. This is a good one. 1979. Pat Summerall and John Madden broadcast a game together for the first time, a pairing that lasted 22 years and become one of the most well-known partnerships in TV sports broadcasting history. Oh, man. Wow. 1979. Unbelievable. Holmes and Frazier was this day in 1983. Larry Holmes TKOs Marvis Frazier. Jose Canseco wins AL Rookie of the Year in 1986. The golden days of baseball, if you will. Steroid era. What is this? What? I don't know what that is. And Lionel Messi becomes the UEFA Champions League all-time top scorer in 2014. And Lamar Jackson, second-year quarter in 2019, becomes first quarterback to throw for 3,000 passing yards and 1,500 yards in a first 2 NFL seasons as the Ravens beat the LA Rams 45-6. Caitlin Clark makes her collegiate debut for Iowa in 2020, recording 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching Sports with Balls. We'll be back Wednesday. We'll go over the stuff that I talked about. Podcast version coming up right after this. I'll have it downloaded. See you guys on Wednesday.